Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are all having a great day today. Today's video is another Project Pan update. I have some exciting little updates and we are going to be rolling in some new products. So if you're new here, hi, my name is Vivian. I'm a robotics engineer with a love for all things beauty and makeup related, and I do a rolling Project Pan with updates every single month. I try to be a more conscious consumer. I love trying new things, but I definitely don't want my collection to get exponential. I already think it's a little bit too large for what I would typically like, so I'm trying to tone it down, and because I'm trying to tone it down, I think a rolling Project Pan is a great idea, always trying to work towards a goal to use up a product. So if you like that type of content, be sure to like and subscribe if you aren't already, and let's just hop into it. So if you're new to my Project Pan series, I typically start with the least exciting to most exciting updates. Let's just start with this from Colourpop. This is the Super Shock Shadow in the shade Ritz. I've had this in my collection for quite a while now. I honestly don't think that I've made any visible progress. I've used this pretty much every day that I've done my makeup though, as just like an eyeshadow topper, taking my finger, swiping it over the lid. I have it on today and I think this shadow is incredibly stunning. I love the way this looks on my eyes, and I'm so glad I have this in my Project Pan because it's really awakening me to how much I do love this product. So although there's not a lot of visible progress, I feel like I have worked on this a lot, have used it a lot, and I enjoy using it. I typically reach for more eyeshadow toppers anyway for my eyes. I don't usually go in with like a full eye look, and so I feel like this is perfect to have in my Project Pan. I've been having a lot of fun with it. I think the shade and the payoff is stunning. The next thing I want to mention is this from Refi. This is the gloss highlighter. You can see that I've made pretty decent progress. Most of the product is like in this bottom third of the packaging, but because this is the fattest part, there's still quite a bit of product. I didn't put this on today, but mainly because I forgot to before I powdered. This is a really pretty highlighter. I actually really like this. I typically just squeeze out a little bit on the back of my hand and then use my finger to like tap it into the high points of my face. I do like this. I have been using it quite a bit. I do usually use this when I do my makeup. Today I just kind of forgot. So I still have a little bit of ways to go with this. I don't foresee myself finishing this next month, but I am working on it. I do like it. And this is also a little mini size of it, so I feel like I could make pretty good progress relatively quickly. The next product I have here is my e.l.f. primer infused bronzer in the shade Forever Sunkissed. I have expanded the pan on this quite a bit. I still have a lot of ways to go. Like the product around the pan still looks pretty thick, so I do still have a lot of work ahead of me. My goal on this was to at least hit side pan, or if I'm feeling optimistic, is to completely use up this bronzer. This bronzer right now is actually too light for me. I feel like I put on a lot of it today, but you can't really see it. A lot of the bronzer that you're seeing is from the bronzer that I have in my Shop My Stash right now, which is the Vive Cream bronzer. I think it's the Modern Radiance. I think most of Vive's products have like Modern Radiance something in the name. So most of the bronze you're seeing is from that, also just from being pretty tan right now. So this right now is super light. It's more of just like a powder for me. Like even that swatch, you can barely see that. So I have been loading this up on my brush, trying to get a lot of use out of it. I do think I've expanded this pan pretty largely for the 1 month that I've had this in my Project Pan. So yeah, not a ton of progress. I'm still going to keep working on it. I still have a long way to go with this, but at least the pan is bigger and you can see it being bigger. The next product I have here is the Glossier Future Dew. This is kind of like a glowy serum oil base. So I feel like I've made a lot of really good progress on this. This last mark is actually more than the previous marks around it. Like the gap is bigger, so I've used it a bit more than I have in the previous months. I still think I'm making pretty good progress with this. I have a long way to go still, don't get me wrong. I still think I have a good like 2-3 months of usage of this, but I do like the way this looks. I don't think it makes my face like too greasy. I feel like even now my face doesn't look too shiny. It looks pretty matte, but I did put on a lot of powder to go on top of this. I like it enough. I have a lot of glowy primers though. I started a spreadsheet to keep track of every single product I have in my collection, and I have a lot of primers and I have a lot of glowy primers specifically, so I need to tone it down a little bit. I am working my way through this, and I've made good progress with this for as long as I've had it in my project pan. I'm really happy about that. I'm really proud of the progress I've made on this, especially because before putting it in my project pan, I almost never used this. So yeah, glad to make a lot of progress. Hopefully I'll be done with this before the end of the calendar year. I feel like that's really good. The next product I have here is my Kosas Cloud Set, and if you guys are new, I had this in my project pan a while ago, but I only hit pan because I dropped it and it fell behind the toilet and cracked everywhere. So technically a fake pan, but still a pan because I still saw a pan. Anyway, from having this in my project pan this last month, I have since made another little indent of pan like right there. I'm not sure if you can actually see that, but I have expanded the pan. I'm working on this a lot. Like this whole middle section here, I can't really show depth on the camera, but this whole middle section has been slowly decompressing. This powder is actually not my favorite. I am just too oily of a gal to solely rely on this powder, so I end up touching up a lot throughout the day. I tend to just use a lot more powder than I typically would with other powders. This one is just, it's not enough for me for how oily I get. So I'm making good progress with this. I think next month I'll expand this pan a little bit more, and hopefully I'll see most of this portion of the product, like the not domed part of the product, gone by the end of the year. I think that's a little bit ambitious. I don't think I'm going to be using that much powder because it is baked, it is more hardly pressed, and there's not a lot of kick up. So I think I'm being a little bit too ambitious, but I do think that I'm making good progress with this. I'm excited to see this continue to get used up, especially because it took me so long to hit pan the first time. And finally, we have two empties. One of them, they're not full empties, but they're empty enough that I feel like I am good to call it quits, good to put it in my empties and roll in another product. So the first thing I have here is my Kaja Gloss Shot. This is in the shade Pink Drink, and there's a little bit of product left. You can see I had it laying down, so there's a little bit of product like back here, but this is getting so globby, and I feel like I've used up enough of it that I'm good to call this quits. I was never planning on taking the stopper out. I was never planning on like getting every single last drop because it's not my favorite formula, but I do think that this was a good gloss. I just prefer other things at this point. I feel like I want something else, something a little bit more moisturizing than this. So it is beautiful. I'm glad that I finished it. I'm glad that I used it up. I'm pretty proud of myself for using it up. I've had this in my project pan for quite a while now. So yeah, finished this, which if you have watched my Project Pan series, you should have seen that coming. I feel like I've talked about, if I didn't fully finish it by this month, I was going to take it out anyway. And so that is what I'm doing. The other product is this from Youthforia. This is the VYO Blush Oil. Again, there's a little bit of product left at the bottom, but it's too low for the stopper or for the wand to reach down, and it's getting too hard to pick up. And I feel like I've used this enough where I don't feel the need to like scrape out every last drop. I'm not going to take the stopper out, and I feel like for how long I've had this in my project pan, this is really good progress. I'm glad that I finished up a full blush. I feel like most of the blushes that I finished up in my project pan have been liquid, because I finished up the Rare Beauty blush in the shade Joy. I finished up the Flower Beauty, not the Flush Balm, the liquid one that you like squeeze out. I finished up that one as well. I've hit pan in a lot of cream blushes, so I think that's really good. I'm really happy with this progress. I don't support Youthforia as a brand anymore, so I'm glad to like fully have this out of my collection and be done with it and not own Youthforia anymore. Really good progress. I'm really happy with it. I'm glad that I finished this up because I've had this in my project pan for so long. Finally, let's talk about products that I'm rolling in. I have 3 products that I'm rolling in. So even though I only finished 2, I am gonna put 3 in because 2 of them I feel like I can finish up relatively quickly before the end of the year. The first thing I want to mention is this brow pencil from Unleashia. This is the Shaper Defining Eyebrow Pencil in the shade number 2, Craft Brown. This is the skinniest pencil that I've ever had in my collection, and I only have that much left. So I feel like I can finish this before the end of the year for sure. This shade is a little bit too light for me, but when I mix it with a like normal brow wax or brow gel, a tinted brow gel that works for my brows, you can't really tell. And because of that, I feel like I'm gonna finish this incredibly quickly. I do like this. I do think it's an okay brow pencil. I probably wouldn't repurchase it because this shade is too light. I don't know if they have other shades. I'm assuming they do, but just for my brows and my brow hairs, this is just too light. And I have so many brow products in my collection right now that I need to work through them. I need to go through them and finish them before even thinking about buying any new brow products. So I'm gonna put this in my project pan. I'm really excited about this. I feel like I could finish this before the end of the calendar year as well. The next product that I want to talk about is this from Summer Fridays. This is their Dream Lip Oil in the shade Rosewood Nights. I made my line a little bit too thick and fat, but I feel like there's not a lot of product in here. So I feel like I could finish this really, really quickly. I've been using it kind of every day as just my normal lip gloss, lip oil since finishing the Kaja one, and I haven't had this in my collection for very long, but there's just not a lot of products in here, and I feel like I could finish it really, really quickly. So I have this in my project pan as well. I also foresee myself finishing this before the end of the calendar year because I've been using it so much, because I love the texture of it, and because there's just not a lot of product left. I feel like it's not going to take me super long. I do think that it's kind of frustrating how fast I finish this up because I've had this in my collection for not that long. I think like 6-ish months whenever the last Sephora sale was, or whenever this got released. Like, it's really pretty and I really like it. I just feel like there's not a ton of product in here. And like, especially if I kind of use the wand to scrape the sides, like you can see that whole top part is empty. I'm glad to have this in my project pan. I feel like I can make a lot of really good use out of this within the next couple months and hopefully be done with it by then. This one, I might end up taking the stopper out because I do like the formula a lot. I feel like that would be very beneficial for me and what I feel like I do want to get every single last drop out of this a little bit longer than like a couple months, but I do think I can finish this relatively soon with how often I've been using it. And the last thing here is actually something that I've had in my collection for quite a while, and I just haven't really used it that much. And I feel like I should either finish it up or throw it out. I would rather try and finish it than throw it out. So this is what we're doing. This is the Glossier Perfecting Skin Tint in the shade G9. This has no coverage. The shade G9 is not a great match for me, but because it's so sheer, I feel like it looks fine. This is such a like lightweight sheer skin tint, like super sheer, almost no coverage. You can see, especially here, I've been having a lot of breakouts lately and they're really red, and this like does a really subtle job of just evening everything out, which I enjoy and which is what I like about this product, but I don't use it enough to kind of warrant having it in my collection for super long. I think I need to just get through it, make use out of it. This bottle isn't super big. It is 1 fluid ounce, but the product is super thin, so I feel like I could get a lot of really good use out of this really quickly. And I want to try and use it up and get it out of my collection, especially because I have so many foundations right now. I just have an excess. I have an excess of a lot of things right now, to be honest, but I definitely want this to be gone out because this is probably my least used out of all of the skin tints that I have. So yeah, putting this in my project pan, I feel like I could make pretty good progress on this. I don't think it's going to be done before the end of the calendar year, but we're working on it. And that is everything for this month's update. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I am really happy to finish up some products and roll some new ones in. I know that my project pans have been kind of stagnant lately in terms of like finishing up product, but I'm glad that I finally was able to finish up these 2 that I've been working on for a while. I'm glad to roll in some new ones, and hopefully we'll see a lot more progress this upcoming month. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys are having a great day, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye guys.